All right, everyone. We are right back into the action. Coming up for you guys is going to be the first semifinal of the day. It is going to be Redskin versus Nice Call. As we did just watch Nice Call take a 2-0. Now, we did miss the first game, but we got to see a pretty action-packed last game on Lijiang Tower. And, oh, man. Scribe, how you doing after that match? How's the adrenaline feel after watching
Oh
some of those
man,
plays?
dude, it's rough, man. I wanna. It's like, man, dude, I wanna learn how to play these characters, how to play Genji, dude. I don't wanna. But meanwhile, me unable to play any Hitscan character whatsoever. So here I am, feeling jealous of everyone's skills. But obviously, on a more serious note, like I think that honestly was a great display of seeing two different compositions both work. I think that's what made Nice Call honestly what was positive on Nice Call is Nice Call literally took a composition that they were beating and they flipped the script and they were saying, well, you can't beat us. Apparently, you guys are having trouble beating us with, running the McCree, Reaper, like Reinhardt. So we're gonna actually use your composition, the Tracer, Genji, Winston composition, and then beat you guys in a best out of 5 map. So obviously, I mean, it's very close, and they didn't win every map that they did the switch. But the fact that they were able to adapt shows so much about their depth of their composition pool, as well as how comfortable they feel on each champion.
And yeah, understanding of the game too, I think is easy to bring it up, right? Because I mean, I feel like the weakness to the Reinhardt, like I mean, if you run the Reinhardt, you go all in, you go the Anna McCree too with it, but the Reinhardt McCree combo, I feel like its weakness is that hard engage because the Winston bubble plus a Genji dashing around through it, dashing, jumping through it up, it's just so much annoyingness for the McCree to deal with. You can't guarantee the McCree is going to be able to take care of that threat. And then you also have the Tracer. So, I mean, there is a lot of ways to deal with that kind of composition. I think that's why we haven't seen Reinhardt as, like, the staple, because it just has problems. Obviously, it can work, and there's definitely, you brought it up in the previous cast, there's definitely a lot of presence and positioning that can be used for it, especially on Gardens. But outside of that, I definitely feel like it is a little bit harder to pull off. But nonetheless, it really was a really interesting series back and forth, and in the end, man, it was just I'd go back to it. If you guys haven't watched it, it'll definitely be in the VODs from that last match, and probably worth uploading for its own little GIF. But the deflect by Disco Bodo onto the Graviton Surge at the end, we caught it in the play of the game for the first-person camera view, but deflects it, gets the cleanup himself, and oh man, those kind of situations are just amazing to watch.
Yeah, dude, that's like honestly doing something like that is like literally throwing your own alley oop. It's like you wanted to get like that big clip, and sure, I mean, admittedly, the Tracer does end up getting the kills, but that's like the dream situation you hope for. Graviton surging to Dragonblood, right, and he hits his own alley oop there and is able to proceed with that. But we're gonna move on to Nambani. We have not seen this map yet today, but Nambani is a very fun map. Honestly, one of the maps where I feel is like it's quite long between the first and the rest of the points, but that first point defense is going to be super tough. It's going to set the entire tempo for the rest of this map. If the defensive team can get a good hold, get good ultimates, and just buy time for like the recovery members to walk down that long path back to the site, I think the defense will be able to hold it.
I could definitely get on board with that. And I mean, how do you feel about, because this is one of the maps where we can kind of talk about it, and before we get into the introductions so I can update the titles, do you think Torbjorn is I mean, obviously this is probably the only map that will consistently see him in competitive play still, but what are your opinions on Torbjorn? How do you feel like is he like actually like 100% viable? Is it more of like a cheese pick at the moment in the current meta, or like how do you feel about that?
Honestly, the reason, okay, so he feels more like a cheese pick at right now because his utility is kind of limited in a weird scope where, if you take down his turret and he's not able to like immediately put one up, he's in that weird situation where he can't really do much. I will say this, Molten Core is very strong at stopping, a lot of, engagements, and if people don't notice that turret immediately up, they can punish it. And what's furthermore is I think that if he gets some buffs, he could potentially see more consistent play on defensive mass, a defensive staple. But one thing to be kind of like thinking about is that Torbjorn notoriously has been very good against Pharah. So if Pharah starts returning to the meta, we might see more Torbjorn maps like these.
Well, fair enough. I can definitely get on board with that, and we'll be seeing him yet, unfortunately, but the defense is going to be Nice Call. We're going to have Ozna picking up the Reaper. We're going to have Matt Waj going to be picking up the Zarya. We've been best on his Winston, we have Direct are going to be picking up the Zenyatta, and actually here's going to be the flank initiation. This is a little bit of that really aggressive play as the charge is going to go through, ends up hitting on the Winston, but Ozna is going to get the first kills. He ends up taking out Hardest, and Matt watches in and taking out Super Plow. So 2 heroes already down for the offense as they're kind of reeling from this position as we are on the screen of Naki, who is on that Lucio. Last to be introduced is of course going to be the dead hero that is Disco Bodo, but the defense able to pretty much stop the first offensive attempt here coming out from Redskin, and that will be their first attempt. Defense stabilizes.
I was so confused when ASOC is running the soldier. I'm not even sure why he was. I thought he was on defense for a second, but he's on offense. I don't agree with the soldier pick. I just don't think it's super great on offense, or maybe he knows something we don't. But that could essentially be a huge turning point if he's forced to stay on this for a lot longer.
Yeah, they definitely could be, and we'll see if they get anything done with it. We'll see what their strategy is going to be with it, but so far it looks like they're playing it pretty much like you would a McCree, any other position hero in that position, and the Death Blossom's going to go through. That was just not a good play coming out from the side. I got to give a little bit of criticism over there. They just ended up running as Oza was in the background. I heard it on the audio of ASOX. I was on his first-person camera. I heard Hellfire Blast after Hellfire Blast. You got to know that Death Blossom is inevitable if you're going to be putting yourself in that kind of position, and that may be a little bit overcritical of me, but I really, really dislike that offensive engage.
I just feel like they don't have a plan right now. I mean, they're still staying on the ASOC. I mean, I think they're trying to go for a left side push right now, but that's not going to change. They've stacked on the left side too. So, sorry, I guess our right side, but they've been stacking on that side also. There's going to be a hard push through.
And now the Dragon Blade's going to go through, and they're all caught in a bad spot. There's going to be the Transcendence coming out from the defense as well, so that's just going to make it that much harder. The Self-Destruct goes out, but no kills are gotten from it. Heiko's already down, and they may have the sights running from ASOX, but they're going to need to get a lot more done than that, as it looks like ASOX is low on HP. He will be on the point, but will be taken down by Disco Bodo, and so far, the first map not going at all in favor of Redskin, as really, it's been the show so far for Nice Call. It's been a big show for them.
Yeah, and God, I'm trying to figure out where the soldiers really playing in right now, because this D.Va seems so out of place. They don't have any flanking people either. It's just kind of D.Va just goes in to mitigate some damage, but they already have Reinhardt to mitigate the damage. Like, you need to come up with a secondary option that works. I don't know why they're not running Zarya. I don't know why they're not doing a lot of things right now.
Yeah, I could definitely, I mean, if they're running a McCree, the side of the defense, Nice Call, then I could see the D.Va having a lot more logic, because you can use the defense matrix to absorb all of the Deadeye, but that's not going to be the case. They are just going to be running that Reaper, and there's going to be a Transcendence coming out this time from the offense as they push in. White Think going to be giving his team a lot of HP, but the Primal Rage Winston swinging around, knocking targets around, but that kill feed, that's the beginning of the defense not having the momentum to hold as Disco Bodo goes down without Dragon Blade available. Matt Waj takes out Cryogenian, but it's not enough. It's too little, too late. And that will be the take of the first point. 3 minutes on the stopwatch as they get the payload active. 4 minutes remain here in the streets phase of Nimbani. Nice call. Great defense so far, but not good enough to full hold.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like, well, that was a really good push from the offense, and the fact that they were all separate in the back line, not able to do damage. I mean, I guess that's where the D.Va Reinhardt double combination does come in handy, is the fact that you can double up your shield and basically allow it so you mitigate even more damage if timed properly and you position your defense matrix. That's still, a lot of time being gained, and that Winston drop into the back line is enough to disrupt, and Disco Bodo hopefully can just go into town.
ASOX uses the Halux rocket to try to take down the barrier quicker. Not sure if I exactly agree with that either, but at the end of the day, it will help out. They do go ahead and push forward. Ozna is going to take out Super Flow, but Hardest has already gotten a massive amount of damage in the background, but Ozanai with the Death Blossom just charging in, cleaning up any hopes that remain for the offense on that push, as they felt like they had it. Soldier pushed up aggressively like he had it, but he did not expect Reaper to come speeding in and clean the house out. And what are you going to do in that situation? Death Blossom is gone, though, so they do have to not have to worry about that for a little bit.
Yeah, it's all going to be about how Disco Bodo uses this ultimate. And they're going in for the deep dive, and hopefully they challenge the Dragon Blade, and this should be the start of a huge fight right now. Helico does take down Matt Wab, but Disco Bodo takes down ASOX before he's able to pop the ultimate, so that's immediate a lot of DPS off the table, and right now that Meg is down, and man, this is just a great defense.
4 minutes and 30 seconds on the stopwatch. 2 minutes and 30 seconds remaining on the map and the side of Redskin. I keep wanting to call him Sovereign, but Redskin is yet to make it that far in this map. They really haven't gotten much momentum going for them. And like you said, ASOX dies with his ultimate up, and his Soldier, I feel like he's one of those heroes now in the new PTR. He will be like other heroes that his ultimate will go away after 0.25 seconds of activating it. But it's one of the fastest charging offensive ultimates in the game. Should be getting a lot more value out of this, but Graviton Surge goes out for the defense, and now ASOX is going to go ahead and choose to use the sights, but Transcendence was more than enough to negate that damage, and in the background, we're going to see the flank coming out from Ozna. He gets his Death Blossom back up, and we've seen what happens with his Death Blossoms. In fact, he's lining it up. He's got a massive one. He's going to go in. He's going to get himself another triple kill, and Disco Bodo is going to clean up the other two. The only remaining member is Heiko. And Ninja's just gonna switch over to him. He just looks a little sad hiding in the corner. He's like, please, please don't chase into my spawn.
Yeah, they need to change up their composition. ASOX changed over that Reaper a little too late. I mean, when you have 1 minute 30, like, sure, that's I guess, you know, it's better than not changing over ever, but that was just way too late. I think you should have made that change a lot earlier.
Yeah, not adapting to the map, not changing the lineup when they need to. And Deadeye's going to come out here from the side of Hardest, and this has been what's changed the game for them to start it off with. But Disco Bodo is going to stop that up immediately with this Dragon Blade. He's got up another one. This is going to continue to push forward, creating the space for Mass Watch to go ahead and take out the Winston. And ASOX is going to go down as well. Disco Bodo will end up finding a Super Plow. But at the same time, Reinhardt by himself, he's outside the spawn, and right now this is just a masterclass defense coming out of nice call. Unfortunately for Redskin, this is a bit of an outclass as they aren't able to get out of their spawn, let alone to green bus.
Yeah, I mean, the problem right now there was that, you know, honestly, like, they just seemed they were getting desperate. Superplex, for some reason, you know, like, Earth Shatters when he really doesn't need to. You should just say that for this next fight, but now they don't have any real defensive options. Transcendence, Rabadon Surge pulls out so much to the team right now, and Disco Bodo is just getting decent amount of damage. I mean, this is the fight looks good for the offense right now, but at the same time, you know, the defense is staying very healthy.
And the Dragon Blade's going to be back out again by Disco Bodo. He's had 2 Dragon Blades in the last minute. Will end up going down to Heiko because there is that Transcendence to keep his team alive. But Ozna, he's still alive, and he still has a Death Blossom available, or at least will be available in just a second. I don't think he'll be able to go for the stall. I think they have to let the point be capped, and that is rather unfortunate. Definitely meant the Shadow to step onto the high ground, but would have died probably no matter what. But 2 minutes now remains on the clock, and this is just... it's hard. I mean, yeah, they got that done, and maybe... was it the defense giving up too much space there and holding too aggressively for too long, or was that just finally some very good play coming out of the offense?
Honestly, that was some very good play, very good timing from the offense with that support, mitigating Transcendence, mitigating literally all of the damage from the Graviton Surge and then the Dragon Blade. So right now they're being very divided, and they need to, you know, they need to find a way to get the Winston and get the Genji back to safety. They right now they're just so spread out. Maybe reset the fight, know that hey, you know, we can re-engage this fight at any time. Genji's in the backline right now. Genji needs to go put out some more damage.
Oh, Deadeye, our Death Blossom's going to come out from Ozna. He's going to get himself a triple kill. This man, 3 Death Blossoms this game. 3 kills each. 9 kills total. And he makes it a quad at the end of the Death Blossom. He makes it a 5k. He's not going to be able to get the 6k in the team ace, but it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, Ozna, this guy right now, his Death Blossoms, and I mean, as the offense... I mean, if you were in the position of the team captain, I mean, I'm sure that you'd be saying something along the lines of, Ozna needs to get shut down. We need to get on him. We need to gunk up his play.
Yeah, but right now he's hiding in the flank position, and Disco Bodo is doing what his job is. He's saying, hey, I'm the priority, I'm the priority. Graviton Surge catches out entire front line, all of the DPS, separates all the tanks from the DPS, meaning that when they got taken down, they basically lost all their damage to the fight. If they can take out ASOX, this will be a complete turn of the fight. Disco Bodo takes out ASOX, but not before Superplug takes out Matt Wall, and Ozna goes down. That Dragon Blade could be the I guess, the start to the end right now. They can take down the Roadhog as well right now.
That's going to be it. I don't know if they... I mean, at least this fight here, they're going to have to try to get back. Hardest will take out Disco Bodo. Hardest going to continue to push over. He's playing a Doctor right now, surgically pushing forward. Every headshot needed. Every single shot can't be missed here. As 3.5 seconds remain, they need to get on the payload, and they are just going to go ahead and channel the Deadeye from Hardest. Death Blossom not nearly as good from ASOX. Ends up dying. There will be 1 kill onto Noki, as it looks like a great shot's going out here. This is definitely Hardest lighting up a little bit, but is it going to be enough? You know who's still alive? It's Ozna, and you know what he has? He has a Death Blossom. He's going to channel it, get some damage done, but this time, good response coming out from the offense as they go ahead and respond properly, get behind that barrier, and maybe, just maybe, negate nice calls, Death Blossom, and it comes down to this last push here. If they get shoved off the payload, if they ever die all at this point, it will just be the end, and that will be it. Stopwatch. It doesn't matter anymore, guys. It all comes down to the offense and the time, or on the progression, because they have the entire map to work with as far as time goes, including overtime. They can, theoretically, they could go into 30 minutes of overtime if they wanted to, as long as they push it to that golden rectangle at the end.
Oh my god, that's just a little frustrating right there because it looked so good at the end. I think the Roadhog added another factor of being able to get some catches and pushes that along. But man, the man of the match, Oznai right there with the Reaper
Oh, it's
ultimates,
so close too.
clearing so much, and that's just
The point
man,
is
that's
so close. I
yeah.
have to agree with you. The frustration really sinking in when I look at this. I mean, 3 meters from finishing the map, and and it's so important that you invoke that time. I mean, even if the time is the maximum time on the map, that at least puts the pressure on the offense of the second offense to say we can't go into overtime, or at least if we do, we need to push another section as fast as much time as we took in overtime.
Yeah, and this rest of the match is all going to be about momentum, right? I mean, we talked about the big names here in terms of the offense side. Disco Bodo, Oz, and Nanzi. Right now, they need to be able to show a great performance in the characters they're picking. I don't see any Genji right now, which is a little, admittedly a little interesting considering I kind of expected a Genji from him. But if he's able to perform on the Reaper and able to, take this first point by surprise, and right now, if you look on the other side right now, a Redskin, they're basically setting up for the same generic, kind of defense where you stack up on the right side, force them to come left, and then you can pincer in and use that to your advantage. It's all about whether or not they execute clean. If they can execute and force ASOX, on the Genji to reflect early, get out position or catch him out, and then pick off the Winston, I think they can easily push this point. But they have to make the hard decision right now of saying like where are they stacked right now, and if they go left, this could be a tough initial push.
Yeah, we'll see if they end up going for that. I mean, it is a very standard play that we see these days. I mean, it's strong in every a vacuum of a respect, but they are going to go for the opposite. Well, not the opposite, but a similar side, but the different setup as they go from the low ground to high ground, getting on that back stairwell. Kind of giving you guys the overhead view to see what's going on as the offense kind of backs up here. Not going to try to engage too hard. Super Plo already gets a kill onto Ozme, and honestly, that is that huge playmaker that we saw in the last match. Every single Death Blossom that he got changed the outcome of the fights, and now, with that hero dead, with that player dead, can they continue this push?
Yeah, they need to push out onto that ledge that they're running. They need to run through right now and contest that. Because right now what they're doing is they're just kind of chilling out here, not really doing anything. But they can establish presence on that right side. They actually force the defense into making some less than ideal choices to engage them on the site.
Well, we'll see if they can take advantage of the position they're in, as it is going to be hardest versus. Oh, flashbang! Oh, Ozanai, not quite. Ozna, not quite with the same reaction time, or at least with the same perception there as hardest. They did know both of each other were there, and it looks like Heiko with the double kill, make it a triple kill. Does end up going down in the end to Ben Best, but will set up hardest to get to the flashbang double dink and clean up that Reinhardt. So D.Va, great play from her, and honestly, that's exactly what you need. I think that was a 4K from D.Va before Heiko ended up going down.
Yeah, and they're once again pushing that left side, the left side point, trying to get through and just, because that's the easiest entrance to go through. You're not going to want to run through any choke points, but at the same time, you run the risk of running into a stack. And that Reinhardt right now, and that Winston comes right into the back of that stack, trying to separate the defense. He does for Disco Bodo, takes him right down. That's exactly what you want Reaper for. That shield, they're trying to push them out of position. And Zarya can run right through right now. I think they're in a really good position.
A little bit of a mistake there as they jump down during the Deadeye. I've seen that happen before in a cast, and I've seen P teams be called out pretty heavily for that, as it can be dangerous if you jump down the Reinhardt barrier, you're falling behind or above wherever you are. Disco Bodo does end up going down to ASOC, so great defense continues here from the side of Redskin, as nice call really just hasn't had the look, the opportunity. I mean, they have the ultimates though, so I mean, again, there is no stopwatch. We have to remember that. We have to say, you know what, time doesn't matter. If it takes them 4 minutes on every single point in overtime, it doesn't matter. As long as they beat the progression of Redskin, they're going to be fine, and they have 5 ultimates to work with, basically.
Yeah, but right now, they just don't seem to be able to get a rhythm right now. And honestly, Hardest has just been so solid right now. College can get another kill. I think they're in a really great position. Gets Ozna right now. Man, Hardest is really carrying the team. ASOC, going in, still has Dragon Blade. Heiko is able to take, and this is just a wipe, and they haven't burned any ultimates yet. They're in an extremely great position. ASOC can hold this off for another push because he still has Dragon Blade. But Hardest getting that pick on the Tracer is huge, and man, Disco Bodo getting to the Genji, Ozzy is going on to the McCree. This can't help but feel a little too late for this change.
Yeah, feeling like both teams' offenses are just a little bit suspect, maybe a little bit linear in their ID in their strategy in the way that they're going about this. They keep going the same way over and over again. Progenian does still have the sound barrier, and he will go ahead and use it. Ends up affecting pretty much everyone on his team. Only person who missed was Heiko, as we are going to have that diva from Atwad, not doing too much as an Earth Shatter goes out. Binbest going to do everything he can, but it doesn't get quite enough yet. Binbest will take out Heiko, and that's important, but the Dragon Blade now comes out. What can ASOX get done with it, as we are going to have the Dragon Blade from Disco Bodo, but no! No! He gets sliced and diced during the blade, and one blade obviously sharper than the other. And of course, when you look at the percents, that's the big thing. Disco Bodo dies with that ultimate available, or with that ultimate down, which means he got the full Dragon Blade out before he ends up going down. And now the fight on the point, the point begins as the Ozma ends up going down. It looks like Naki's going to fall as well, and we're on ASOX as he's just dashing, slicing, dicing, killing, cleaning, and making everything easy for his team, as pretty much no one was able to cleanly fight that out. Hardest will end up getting the last kill, as that's Dr. Nareko, or the Reneko, as he goes down. I don't know why I keep wanting to call him Disco, like, I want to call him Dr. Reneko, and I want to call him, or I want to call Disco Bodo, Dr. Bodo, but that will be a first map going to the team that, honestly, with a weak beginning offense, but the second offense a lot weaker. I mean, how do I want to phrase this? Do you think in these kind of games that it is, I mean, obviously the offenses could do a lot more, so there's a fair bit to say that the offense should be doing more. It's an offensive game. Definitely look at it that, but I mean, the defenses were very strong on both teams. Do you think that this is maybe a series that is a little bit so far being shaped by the defenses, or just being shaped by lackluster offenses rather than actual defenses?
I think, honestly, in all escort maps, a lot of the prerogative to doing well relies on your defensive hold, right? Because I think, in general, a lot of these maps do have some sort of, like, offensive advantage, right? So the reason why in that last one, Redskin was able to come away with that hard video was when Hardest literally gets, you know, when Hardest goes and picks off your DPS stealer or your support and ends up just winning these 1v1 duels all the time, that just means that just does so much for the defense, because all of a sudden your flanking maneuver is out, you're down a support, and you're down so much just damage and like this general utility, that he's able to capitalize that and force that fight. And honestly, that's what it all came down to. Sure, you know, ASOC with his soldier, I didn't completely agree with that, but at the end of the day, you know, on defense, Hardest coming in harshly and just, you know, shutting down every attempt one after another. And I just saw they should have traded a lot earlier. I mean, the McCree Genji may have been, you know, a really smart decision, but they needed to get that off earlier, and it can't be questioned, you know. Disco Bodo had an opportunity to really turn the fight at the end with that Dragon Blade, but just gets, you know, wiped, and that's not how you want that game to end.
So then I pose the question, why even have Disco Bodo be playing the heroes he was? Because I mean, his Genji was playing incredibly well on their defense, and then on the same note, because they ended up having Disco Bodo for a while play the Reaper, why not just have Osna stick on the Reaper? Now, of course, I guess you kind of do need a long range hit scan, the McCree or my soldier in some instances, to help with that catwalk v catwalk fight, but they were lighting it up on those two heroes. At the end of the day, if it works, it works. It doesn't matter if it's theoretically correct or wrong.
Yeah, I think honestly at that point right there, I think that they were trying to take more close counter engagements. At least that seems like their plan, in which case it makes more sense to run like a Reaper or something else. It doesn't really make sense to run Genji if you're going to prioritize close combat very early on and try to get those skirmishes. But I don't really know, and I don't think I really have the expertise to really say like, oh man, like, you know, they have all these tendencies, because I haven't watched everyone their scrims. I haven't watched everyone because I don't have the information. Maybe that's just something they picked up in the scrims and it works.
Yeah, that's true. A lot of this can be just from seeing other people play it and see how it works for them, as ASOX is going to end up taking out Noki. Good start for them, as they do need to take out that Lucio. They do need to continue to cleave apart the supports, but they do lose Binbest as well. So far, it looks like, as I do need to switch up the titles, a nice call. Is having a pretty hard time at the beginning of this King of the Hill, and the first point will go over in favor to Redskin, but how long is that going to last? Osa pushing forward, Daneko gets himself a kill in the flashbang fan, going to do a lot of damage over to Zarya. It looks like she drops pretty low. Heiko gonna end up getting very low, ends up falling and dying, and now it's gonna come down to this Genji. Flashbang is not available for another second, so does need to. Oh, never mind. Just gonna go ahead and get it with the flashbang with the help of Miss Matwaj, and they are gonna go ahead and take the point. 18% plays 0%, but that's still a decent start for the side of Redskin. But you would have liked them to milk a little bit more.
Yeah, and Asox does, he does burn that, that Dragon Blade earlier. I think he does at least, but doesn't really get much off of it. And Hardest, on that Tracer, has done a lot of work on that Tracer before. Cryogen on with that ultimate. This could be a huge engage that could be going on.
We'll see if anything can be made out of it as Ozna is over the top. Went ahead and stayed on his camera because this Deadeye could be huge. And it looks like he is going to go ahead and pull the trigger, but doesn't get any value out of it as most of the targets were able to hide behind cover. And that's what you need to do against Deadeye as they push forward, though. It doesn't matter if you hide from the Deadeye. If you put yourself in a position in which you're easily taken out, that's another benefit. I mean, that's same concept we were talking about with Mei. Map manipulation, positioning control is so important. You know what does that incredibly well? An ultimate that also, if you stand in the middle of, kills you, known as Deadeye.
Yeah, of course, and that's a great hold right now. They're sitting on a lot of ultimates, so definitely an ultimate advantage, and they have exactly what ultimates they need. They can take out the entire choke point. They want to engage again. Basically, you just grab on search, and you force them out. But Disco Bodo gets killed trying to Deadeye by Asox, which is already not great to start because you're losing one of your big DPS dealers.
Yep, and he's only going to have 80% of that blossom, so it's not going to be immediately available in the next fight. He is going to go ahead and have to try to farm that up a little bit. Hardest continuing to get some damage on Graviton Surge. Going to come out from... nice call here as they try to get something done here. I mean, sorry, Redskin, their Graviton Surge, but nothing really gotten done here. Ozanai, I mean, this guy has just been going off. I mean, it was first, honestly, it was first his Reaper, and I really questioned his play, but I mean, he's kind of stepped it up, and, once he switched away from that Reaper on over to the, or Tracer over onto this McCree, it's just been going so well for him, and also, honestly, the Reaper too, so they have two very strong Reaper players over here.
Yeah, and that Earth Shatter does its job. It might not be enough. He needs to kill some persons. No one's dead yet, but at the same time, look at their health bars. Their health bars are dropping so hard. 3 kills immediately on the side of the assaulting team. They just can't hold this point anymore. Overtime is ticking down, and the fuse is burning, and that's going to be our first point.
A nice call down in the series. It's going to pick up the first of the second map, which is very important for momentum and morale. We've talked about it multiple times throughout the day. In fact, we mentioned multiple times, lots of discussions about it in previous games and in previous months. The discussion of tempo and momentum in Overwatch, but right now, I mean, and you talk about it in the sense intrinsic only to competitive games. It is so important to have that momentum when you're already down. Being down that first map, it's going to feel rough, but you can start off the second map with a win. It's going to lighten those spirits, like you said. It's going to relieve pressure, because when you're down and down and down, it starts to become very pressuring to you. Oh, we have to win every single map. We can't drop a single King of the Hill. We can't drop the payload after it. It's all in or nothing, and that's a very hard feeling to keep continuing to play at.
Yeah, but on this map, this is a lot more about closed corridors. This is really the competition of whether or not team cohesion prevails over individual play. But right now, even that Winston goes in by himself, and that was not with any other support. And I'll talk about that point in a later segment, I guess. But right now, they're just able to kite this fight out. It's relatively even right now, so no team I really think has the advantage. They were able to take out some threats. Maybe Redskin is able to get onto the site and just take control of it, but this is not a great position for them either.
No, it's a very suspect position for both teams. We'll see who ends up getting the better end of it. And so far, there have been no more kills since the last few in the exchange. 7%, 8% going all over, or going on to the point here so far for Redskin. And see if the side of Nice Cog can get in here and actually get a good, decent setup. And it looks like it's going well for them. 3-0 so far as they're going to continue to push forward. Who I think is down. And again, both supports, or the support being down, makes it that much harder for them to continue to sustain the fight. And honestly, in King of the Hill, that's another interesting question. If you have something else, of course, you can bring up. But do you think it's more advantageous in general to focus the supports first or the DPS first? Because I've seen FaZe go for DPS first, leaving the supports alive last, easy to stagger. And I've seen, of course, other teams, Rogue be a team that likes to go for the supports first.
I mean, it's honestly up to preference and whether or not you have confidence in your deep winning. I mean, that's obviously looks like great defensive, drop the beat to mitigate some of the damage. But that Dragon Blade is reflect. I don't know. Did he even use his Dragon Blade right there? No, ASOC still has it. So that was not a Dragon Blade, but able to recapture the point. But it really comes down to the fact what you feel more comfortable doing, right? If your DPS is stronger, then go after the supports. Make sure their enemy DPS can't do as much, right? And in either case, if you're less confident about your DPS, you want to mitigate the amount of damage they have, so it makes your DPS lives easier. Great Earth Shatter catches 2, but able to kill 1. Crysynergen easy, and that's a lot of healing right down the bat. ASOC, he burned his ultimate and just dies instantaneously. He needed to hold on to that for any chance to recover on there, and that's just a point taken back immediately afterwards. This is just so back and forth right now.
It really is, and honestly, it's hard to say which team has really got the better end of the long term right now. If we look at the ultimate charge and the general direction of it, ASOX is about going to have his ultimate after the Deadeye and the Death Blossom have gone out, so he should be able to get that cap when they're getting close to 90%. But if it goes down to the very end, I feel like right now it is going to be in the favor of Nice Call, as they just have that better position to be getting the long-term ultimate charge. Deadeye going to be channeled out by Ozna. Will not get any kills with it though, so that's pretty important here for Redskin, as it looks like Disco Bodo. Disco Bodo, yeah, you shake your screen. That's perfectly fine. You can left click very well with that shotgun. And that's exactly what you expect out of your Reaper. You need a Reaper to be getting those huge kills because he has the potential to be able to do that by himself.
I mean, Ben Best actually charged and I think kills YTNK, but oh my god, he was able to kill him, and that's a lot of healing all of a sudden down, and it looks like they're able to get a backdoor down, but that the Earth Shatter, that is not what you want to see defending that. Oh, they tried to be a little cheeky there with the back door, but oh man, that hurts, man. When you have the advantage on site and the enemy just goes, okay, you want to be in a congested corner, I'm just gonna Earth Shatter.
And great Graviton Surge are going to prevent any chance of a contesting and or overtime. But yeah, no, I definitely agree with that, and I really want to pick your brain again when it comes to this idea of Earth Shatters, big ultimates hitting your team. I mean, part of it is, I go back to my Dota experience here. When you got hit by big wombo combos, it was never one person's fault. Like, maybe somebody could have added a crowd control ability. Maybe somebody could have stopped that wombo combo's initiation. But at the end of the day, wombo combo is a product of a team position, a team situation, and that kind of breakdown. But like, what do you say to your team in that kind of situation when you lose a game to a 4-man Earthshatter like that? When you did have tempo, because
I mean, honestly, honestly, what I'll say is, like, that's kind of tough to say what you would do, right? Because it wasn't like they did anything wrong per se. Okay. They kind of just stood in there as, that Earth Shatter went down. It's like kind of being like, doing Roshan, and someone, blink daggers in and just gets a huge Echo Slam off. I wouldn't say, maybe you could have like more vision somewhere, but there's not like a solidified excuse somewhere I would like to blame. But this game is already going immediately off the bat. Redskin is taking the point, taking a lot of the advantages, kiting everyone back, staggering their spawns. Darren Echo dying so late after the fact is not good. They're going to have to wait a little longer for them to come back up.
And ASOX getting that kill is going to have that pulse bomb because of that. And I like that you bring that up too. I mean, it is a situation where with hindsight they could easily say we needed to be more spread, we needed to be in those corners. But in the moment it is so hard to make those identifying situations with all the data flying around, and that pulse bomb doesn't get enough done, but it does force Matwatch to use his own personal barrier. And this tracking from ASOX, maybe they should have just kept him on this hero this entire time. Not only does he line up that kill earlier on under Echo, that name is just going to ruin me all day. Darren Echo. But what does end up happening after that is also very critical. He gets the pulse bomb, gets a lot of damage, gets 2 more kills, and Tracer herself can do so much damage in this King of the Hills.
Yeah, and that's, man, they're not watching the back cap either, but he's able to get away, able to draw some attention off. Disco Brodo needs to get the safety. He needs to just regroup with his team, and his team's coming around for the big flank. They need to go into that Graviton Surge, grabs him right at the entrance, and that's all the defending team needs. They're going to basically challenge them. That Transcendence match for Transcendence mitigates some medium damage. With Darren Echo and Matwa, did they both get booped up? Disco Brodo may have gotten booped off too. This is ridiculous.
I think Disco Brodo would have been a suicide, but yeah, no, I think the first 2, I mean, it wasn't a kill feed attributed to anyone, so it couldn't have been a Winston leap. It couldn't have been a bop directly, because it's weird in the game engine like that. But yeah, those 2 environmental kills happen too quickly together, and I don't think you want to I mean, would they have wanted to sacrifice the fight at that point? I guess I kind of leave it there as we get into this play-by-play. There's going to be the post bomb. RaptorZ gets himself a Deadeye with the double kill, and Ozna is the only one who's kind of making a difference here. And remember, guys, that they are down 0-1 in the series. So if there is the reverse sweep on this map, it would be a 2-0 for Redskin. And nice call after such a blazingly strong performance against their opponents in the previous match would end up falling. But yeah, did they? If it was a suicide, did they need to jump off in that situation?
I mean, if they didn't want to feed more ultimate charge, but it would be kind of a moot point at this rate. RaptorZ gets the Darren Echo. ASOX get. Oh man, this is just high priority kills. This is what happens when you just lose 1v1s. It just feels like your team can't win the game. It's just RaptorZ taking out Ozyneus, takes out Ben Best. That's just frustrating, and there's nothing you can do about it. I mean, what are you gonna come back to your team for? You're gonna tell your team win the 1v1, get more headshots than the other McCree. That's all you can really say, and unfortunately, that's kind of where this game turned. It's just the ability for them to win these 1v1s, to win these DM fights that they need to take, and keeping their DPS dealers alive. I think that's honestly all they really could do, and that's all they need to do on this point. Hopefully, they're able to replicate this success on the next two iterations of this map to hopefully bring it back. Bring it back to either game 5 or win this straight up. But right now, man, they're just on fire, and they can ride this momentum. I'm very scared to see what they can do.
Agreed. And I really like that you bring up that point too. I mean, when you're in the game, you definitely need to be thinking about comps, you need to be thinking about calls, you need to be thinking about positioning. But when you're out of the game, you can go back and say, we just got out aimed, we got out dueled, we got outplayed. We need to go back and practice our basics, and that might just be the case here. We'll see. We'll see though, as it is going to be 2-1. It is a very close match, and that. Oh, initiation from Superplow going to be jumping in. Disco Bodo, though, he gets the first kill. And that's the problem running Winston against a Reaper, especially in a world where Darren Echo exists with that Discord Orb. And right now, Zarya is getting absolutely shred apart. Zarya is going to run into Zarya, and RaptorZ does get a double kill. But I don't know if it's strictly enough here, as it's going to be a double kill for Disco Bodo. Takes out Heiko, takes out Think, and RaptorZ, though. RaptorZ, what a man of the hour right now, as he ends up getting another kill, helping out I believe Superplow and his other teammate Heiko get those last 2 kills.
That's actually really funny because Superplow dies so early. He's able to come back at full health just as RaptorZ needs his support, and he's able to get a lot of big kills. And that's exactly what I'm talking about. RaptorZ is the man of the hour right now. Getting these big kills means so much because you're able to take down these 1v1 fights. You're able to stall out the game a lot more, and now this is just momentum that they're riding off of. This is just raw confidence right now. They're saying we can take these duels. RaptorZ has been able to do it, and look how aggressive they're playing. They're pushing in. They're saying, sure, we're going to challenge you. We're going to gain as much time as you can. We're going to force you to stay within your base right now. They don't look like they're backing off anytime soon. They're just staying right here. They're saying, yo, come to us and we'll win this fight.
Yeah, well, you guys are going to have to prove to us that you're the better team right now, because we're in the lead. We're playing a better. Flashbang comes out from RaptorZ and ends up hitting. Oh, and the great turnaround double flick onto Disco Bodo, who is going to have an absolutely devastating Death Blossom. And without RaptorZ's play right there, that could have gone absolutely horrendous. Team Killahorn punctuated and Scribe. You say confidence. That was utter sheer brilliance coming out of RaptorZ. If you need to learn how to aim in a moment, that's the moment right there.
And that might be what they were missing on the first few maps right now. But that Earth Shatter grabs one, and maybe it's a high priority target, maybe it's not. But man, this Ozyneus, oh man, ASOX does get the trade kills though, and Disco Bodo, is able to get some big kills right now without, did he use Dragon Blade? I don't think so. But 86% on the clock, that's a lot of time that they have to work with to retake right now, and they do have a lot of ultimate. Yeah, they have one ultimate right now to be able to pursue it, but man, that great Graviton Surge catches them all out right now, and hopefully they can mitigate some of the damage to stay alive. But they just have to sustain this fight. RaptorZ gets Ben Best, and that's already one takedown. I think that should be enough.
Well, it's going to come down to this Genji. Disco Bodo is going to be chasing it down. There's Ozna going down. Flashbang not going to go off. It looks like it maybe a little bit of that 60 tick going on right there, as the flashbang did get thrown, but not exactly exploding. Disco Bodo will get the kill. ASOX looking for him, needs to get the kill as well, considering the situation that they're in right now. So close to tying it up 2-2. The last thing they'd want to do is let the series tie up 1-1 and go into the last map with this kind of momentum, but there's going to be an Earth Shatter. Ben Best trying to create that opportunity for his team, and Ozna, oh no, he ends up wasting 20% of his ultimate, and under the new PTR patch, that would have been all of your Death Blossom. Those kind of plays are definitely going to be a lot more punished in the future, but for now, he rests on some of his laurels as he does have that 87%, but I don't know if they have the means to actually get on this point and have a meaningful fight, especially with Ben Best just straight up running in the way he is. I don't agree with that at all. And if you look at the red outlines, they're staggered so far apart. One far left, two down in the main, and Disco Bodo over here to the left as he's going to dash in, but he's already taken quite a bit of damage.
That's fine. All defense needs to do right now is kite it out, and oh man, that Winston shield negates so much damage from that Death Blossom. That's almost useless, and this, I think that's the end of the game right there. The fact that, you know, that Death Blossom really wasn't able to do much, and but man, that Graviton Surge catches them in. Hopefully they're able to deal up enough damage to kill everyone out. That Transcendence does come in along with the drop the beat, able to, you know, give them a lot more health. And wow, that was a great turnaround. The fact that those two were able to combo it together and, you know, give them enough time to death. They were able to reset the point and move in. And on the side of the offense right now, they're now on a time limit, right? They don't have that much time left. They do have two defensive ultimates that will be up super soon. This is all going to be up to Hardest. If Hardest can land a few snipes, a few picks, I think they can move in and take the victory. Otherwise, they have to find a way to deal with Disco Bodo. It's all going to be up to Hardest winning this 1v1 right now.
So they're going to go ahead and use the Transcendence up front to go ahead and build up as many ultimates as possible, and also help get up that sound barriers. Hardest is going to end up taking out Matt Wide. That is the beginning, like you were saying, but then he ends up going down to Ozna, and now it all comes down to Asox, as he's been doing a lot this entire map. He's going to go ahead and throw out the pulse bomb, gets himself a kill onto Ben Best. I believe he did some other damage as well, and it looks like they are going to end up taking Ozna during that Death Blossom. Again, those Death Blossoms have been absolutely critical, especially on Numbani for their defense, but so far, they might be able to actually take this 3-1 and tie up the map. Superply was able to take out Naki, and that's the beginning of it. They need to continue to take out each support possible. Transcendence goes out from Matt onto Matt Watch. That's going to heal up their Winston completely, and now Ben Best and the Winston are going to be hard targets to deal with. The Winston's going to continue to shock away onto Tracer, as Tracer is looking to find more opportunities, ends up taking out Ben Best. Going to throw the pulse bomb out, not going to get any kills off the back of it, but will find a lot of damage onto Darenico. It looks like in the back, Ozna will go ahead and clean up the Tracer, and with that kill, they take the map 3-1, and we have a tied series even after that crazy performance.
Oh man, and that's ridiculous right now. I gotta catch my breath. That's almost too good, and that looks so good for the side of Redskin right there. I honestly thought they were gonna win, but Disco Bodo able to convert so much of that damage, and man, that was, I'm actually surprised that, you know, Redskin didn't take that. Hardest literally was fighting against both the Reaper and, I want to say, a Reaper and a Winston, like 1v2, and took out the Winston pretty early on. I'm surprised they lost that fight, but at the end of the day, you know, that's just, you know, winning better and playing better at the end of the day. But hopefully they're able to take more away from this game, be able to have a better gauge. But this is a very tiring series. The fact that it was so close yet so far, I can see teams being incredibly exhausted coming to this last map.
It's been a long day, to say the least, too. I mean, we're unfortunately, I had the hiccup earlier today, but I believe we were casting for about an hour and a half before the hiccups. So, I mean, it's been about a 5-hour day so far of playing Overwatch. And, of course, this is probably not one of the only matches that they've had that has had this level of stress. And, I mean, they still have the finals after it. So, definitely, exhaustion, fatigue is super important in these games, in this specifically in Overwatch 2, I feel like we have said earlier, we kind of mentioned, we've touched base on it, it's been a surface thing, but in any competitive game, tempo, momentum, they matter so much, especially in series momentum. But in Overwatch, since the game itself is predicated off of momentum, at least the meta is right now, and also that games themselves are very momentous, it presents a situation now where for the side of Redskin, after their first performance, doesn't really matter, right? That they as a player, you know, I personally see it hard after a game like that. It's hard to dial back and say, okay, we did well game one. You know, we had a bad offense, but we had a good defense. But after that 5-game series coming so close, right? It's just so hard for you to mentally get past the fact that you were so close to just outright winning.
Yeah, and I mean, it's all about how they read this third map is 66. They are not going to have a lot of time. Honestly, Route 66 is a relatively short offense has a lot of advantages in terms of gaining momentum and pushing through some of these points as a defense. In order to get onto like the sites to challenge, needs to run through a lot of choke points. But this is all going to be about that first defense at Big Earls. If the defense can get a good hold at Big Earls, they'll set the momentum for the rest of this game.
Okay. Do you think that there's any really random question? Do you think there's any actual viable setups outside of Big Earls? Because like when you look at point one Dorado overhead, like Dorado, obviously Big Earls takes up a lot of space, but like I've seen of course on Gibraltar triple DPS setups with like Genji, Reaper, and McCree, and they kind of play way more fluid, not more centrally. Do you think that there's any way to play it, or is basically like is it that logic that Big Earls is just so damn good that there's just no reason to think about anything else?
I think there are a few setups. I think obviously you can actually play very aggressive and stop them from getting into the card itself, but that runs the risk of dying and, you know, setting your team back a lot. The main thing is just because Big Rolls is just, you know, like you have the high ground here. You can run behind the sign for a little bit of mitigation damage. And the fact is that you have such a great vantage point for when the payload runs underneath you that you have a huge advantage there. The only weakness about Big Rolls is that inherently you don't have a lot of control in the under tunnel and the upper tunnels. So if they choose to flank you from there, you really don't have that much option in challenging those spots, which is why, you know, teams typically will run like, you know, McCree on the side there or something like that. But this is honestly, there's a lot of great steps you can use here, but it's going to be all about maintaining control here and not getting flanked from behind.
Okay, so at the end of the day, Big Earls is one of the best points on the map to do that. And we'll go ahead and start the stopwatch. This is going to be a payload. It's been a little while since we've had to run a stopwatch. Numbani didn't have a stopwatch. Li Zhang didn't have a stopwatch, and this time, of course, the series before we watched only Li Zhang. So it's been a little bit less of the payload towards the end of the cast, but definitely at the beginning of the cast we saw nothing but Hollywood, or sorry, nothing but King's Row. It's nice to see Route 66 here, as it is a map you don't get to see it that often, but we'll be eyes on Disco Bodo, the man who deflected the Graviton Surge earlier today. Can he continue to play the Genji the way he has? In fact, he's going to go ahead and initiate in with his Winston, but nope. That's the opposite of what you want to have happen, and Heiko and Ko with this Roadhog going to continue to push forward and do a lot of damage. Especially if he can pick, oh, it's not, no, not going to go ahead and get hooked. It's going to be able to escape. And it's interesting, too. I mean, Roadhog on this map, how do you feel about that in comparison to his Zarya? Because, I mean, obviously, Reaper, Zarya, lots of synergy.
Yeah, so Roadhog's all about getting that specific catch, right? Because you have the high ground, you have the ability to pull someone up there and severely disposition them, which I think is very important for the defense on this map. But the big thing right there is that, I don't know if people noticed, but that big Earl sign actually provided a lot of damage mitigation after the Winston and Genji left in. It's just because McCree has no ability to follow up on that, and that's why they got those trade kills. But man, great kill on the Lucio, and that's what you need. You need to take out the support, even if it's that one person. Disco Bodo takes out Asox, then Best takes out Super Pluck, and Heiko goes down, and this is exactly where it gets hard to defend. You can't race on here without running through a chokehold, and right, they're just going to give up and say, hey, we're going to position ourselves either on the bridge in looks of defending the second point.
Yeah, and that Roadhog didn't really do it. I think it's really wanted to. He did end up landing a second hook later on into the fight onto the Genji, but he just couldn't get the kill onto Genji. And when you can't kill a Genji, I mean, like you said, it is so important, the top Genji's survivability, getting those kills outside of Dragon Blade. And the longer you survive, the more utility and, of course, threat you provide. Because eventually, you're going to get that ability called Dragon Blade. Looks like they will drop Matt Waj out of his mech. Artist continuing to look for more kills, looking for those shots. It looks like it is going to be a Reinhardt chasing him down and just swinging away, knocking him out. And they will actually go ahead and hold the charge coming out of Asox. I don't think that was a Death Blossom. It wasn't. It was just great play with the help of Heiko and the help of his Reinhardt. And they're going to go ahead and clean up the payload. Did you see what happened there? That was really quick collapse.
Honestly, it was just... I'm actually like not in. I'm not entirely sure what happened. Honestly, I felt like that was just a great earth shatter that ended up doing all that and really, you know, setting back the the defensive fight right there. But now they're gonna push through their spawn, trying to catch them off guard. They don't care about the payload round. They just want to get a catch.
I mean, if they can, then they can go ahead and push off the back of that, and they're gonna lose their Echo. They're gonna lose Noki. They're gonna lose everyone as Asox gets himself a Death Blossom on the bridge, running them into an enclosed area. And yeah, you want to run away from the Reaper, but you don't want to run into a wall away from the Reaper, and that will be a 3K for Asox on that fight. And that stopwatch starting to get a little bit longer here on the time. 3 minutes remaining on the Streets phase.
Yeah, all this is about right now is Disco Bodo on that 85%. That's the person to watch. Heiko honestly could get a pick, and if he takes out Noki, I think honestly that delays the push a little more because that's the main defensive ultimate they're using to engage. But if they can get a pick right now, that'd be great. But he's pushing them back. He doesn't even care about, you know, letting them fight. But they take out Super Funk with AZ Nazi. AZ Nazi takes out Hardest again, and right now this is just all downhill from here. The kill field is just lighting up. Sox goes down, Heiko goes down, Ozanazi. I think that's like 5 kills in total with one from Disco Brody, and that's the momentum they needed. And they did not burn a lot of ults. They burned Noki's ult, and that's fine, but they still have everyone else's, and that might be enough to carry them on to the next checkpoint.
Yeah, no, it's true, and there is the 2 responsive ultimates coming out of the defense, but outside of that, that's it. They have no action to take. They have no ability to seize it, and they will just go ahead and use the Transcendence here to go ahead and fight it out under the cart here, as there's going to be a little bit of healing coming out from I think, but it's worth... Oh, the Death Blossom not doing too much, though, as it looks like Sox as well. They're not going to do that much. Super Plow is going to go ahead and throw down the Earth Shatter, and Disco Bodo looking for those kills. Super Plow already gotten himself a fair set of important kills. But what I did want to go ahead and say there was that they did overlap, it looked like, the barrier and the Transcendence. So a bit of a misplay there coming out of the defense. And that could have made a small change in the outcome of that fight. But in the last 3 minutes, 30 seconds remain here on the last section of the map.
Now, Matt Wog has an ultimate, which should be enough to push through and maybe clear some more sites. But they need to wait for the rest of their team right now. They need to be able to wait for the rest of the team to flank. They cannot engage right now. They need to wait or they kite back. Buy some more time for your team to catch up. And man, Ben Best goes down super early on. I would say just pull back right now. Don't give up any more kills. Don't stagger. You still want the time on the clock. Wait for your tank to come back and then move forward and push. You can wait. You don't have that many ultimates up right now, but neither do your opponents. But right now, I think honestly they'll be hitting their ultimate criteria a lot faster, and that'll be hopefully the game decider.
Yeah, no, and that's something that they could definitely be trying to exploit right now, but the self-destruct does go out. It looks like Hardest is going to take out Ben Best, so buying more time is the defense. Of course, getting that pick is going to open up more opportunities for kills without that barrier protecting everyone, and the shotgun's going to go ahead and clean through as Matt Waj and Disco go down, both to Sox, or at least Sox doing the lion's share of the damage. It looks like Hardest is going to be the only one left alive as Osna goes ahead and lights up at the end. Noki going to help take out I think, and that should be the beginning of the end here. At least the payload allowing to get itself pretty close to the end. Death Blossom almost up as well with Graviton Surge for the offense.
Yeah, and right now, man, that great defensive engage, knowing that oh man, hopefully that mitigates enough damage from the Earth Shatter. It keeps this fight 1-1, but they're trading support for DPS, which I think is a fine trade to make. Except wow, when they start taking out everyone else, I don't even think that's a trade that you want to take.
Yeah, now it's the opposite of what you said earlier. You really don't want to be in the position of the offense when it comes to the ultimate situation here, because they're going to have to continue to push in. They're going to have to try to trade it out. They only have 1 minute and 40 seconds, and if they can't get a good fight to build up the ultimates, they're just going to have to fight it raw without ultimates to win the last point. Whereas the defense, they're sitting all right, and they can just sit back and keep building it up, and if they trade out an Earth Shatter to build up all the rest of their teammates' ultimates, that could be pretty big. But Disco Bodo as well as Osna are going to go ahead and change this up a little bit, maybe shutting me up and saying, we don't need ultimates to win this fight, but Hardest is going to say, no, I'm sorry. You are going to need ultimates to win this fight. Got a better position than you, got more numbers, and got the means, but it doesn't look like he's got Genji in his sights. Nope, Genji will go ahead and get away. So there we go, reset for the offense, and they do go ahead and build up some ultimates. Disco Bodo is going to get close to that Dragon Blade, Osna close to that Deadeye, and Ben Best will get access to that Earth Shatter. They lack defensive ultimates, but they have something to work with.
Yeah, honestly, that was a little concerning. I mean, just some weird things trying to noticing. Ben Best goes down super early, and now that he has Earth Shatter, he cannot afford to go down that early. He's gone down early in the 2 of the last team fights, which has really set them off. Sox reflecting great Earth Shatter, and this is exactly what they need.
Only misses Hardest. Will he be able to capitalize on it, because he needs to take out this Dragon Blade before something can get done? But there's going to be a Dragon Blade. Hardest has Noki in the head there with a great left click through the Transcendence, and now going to be looking for more shots. Deadeye is going to get channeled by his opposite number. Will Oza be able to get any kills with it? It looks like he's got a few skulls lit up, but it's not going to be enough to guarantee those kills. Sox will go ahead and take out Ben as best as the Earth Shatter goes out. Oh, this Earth Shatter from Super Plow could be absolutely devastating here as he continues to push forward. Will help take out a kill onto Dareneko, but that's about it. Defense struggling. They're gonna have to figure out something right here, right now, because the payload is getting inches away from being completed.
Yeah, and they have Disco Bodhi on 84%. right there. He's about to get ultimate again. That's not good. And oh my god, on top of that Deadeye. But he jumps into the Graviton Surge, and I don't know if this is enough, but that oh man, that Earth Shatter, I think, cancels out the Deadeye and that Graviton Surge, but that's more than enough. They don't even care right now. That's a Graviton Surge from their side. They don't even care right now. Great win. Well, not great win, but great half.
26 seconds over the map time. Ooh, that's... I mean, but we talked about it earlier. I mean, we've kind of already covered this subject a fair bit. It honestly doesn't matter if you don't complete the map, if you complete the map in 7 minutes, 6 minutes, 7 minutes, 8 minutes. It makes differences, of course, but the big thing is the map completion itself. You want to have that room. You want to have. I mean, I guess the simplest way to put it up is put it out is that if you don't take the second checkpoint, you only take the first checkpoint, then you completely miss out on that last checkpoint defensive advantage. You miss out on the trailer setup, you miss up on so many setups that can work well for your team, and that's kind of what I wanted to highlight there, is that finishing the map gives you all of the palettes of options of the map that are available, rather than limiting to you to what you did successfully take.
Yeah, and I agree there, but let's see how they can flip it on the script, hopefully, and let's see how they're able to react. They have a very beatable time, but I think the worry right now is less about how much time it's going to take and more about how long, if they can, if they can even make it past the first 2 points before getting stalled out.
Yeah, I agree with that, especially with the second point. I think the second point's kind of like the deciding factor in a lot of route games. The first point is very defensively favored. Win big earls is properly held. It's really on the onus of the offense to break them off, so of course that's important. But in the second phase of the map, I really feel like both teams have a lot of utility to them. There's a lot of flanking opportunities for the offense. There's the left side around High Noon. There's the high side, there's the right side over to the service station, there's main, there's the catwalks, there's the third degree of verticality on top of high. Why am I always want to call it High Noon. Yeah, high side. I always want to call it High Noon because everything about this map is like High Noon, and then of course they name the bar there high side instead of High Noon. Like, come on. Started the stopwatch 10 seconds a little late there from the banter, but just subtract 10 seconds from the stopwatch on your time, guys, and it will be 8:16 remaining on this map. Now 8:20.
Oh, they're going for the big loop. I think they want to rush it out. But wait, there is an Ana here, and all they want to do is boost, I guess.
No.
And a boost right there. But ASOX takes down Matt Wall. Hardest takes on Ben Pez. And Dark Neko has a trade, but that's not enough. They need to take more than that right now. ASOX is going in deep right now, and if they continue this push, this is great momentum.
Biotic Grenade's available in just a second, and the new one that was low is going to get topped up quite quickly now. Of course, 100% more healing from targets affected by Biotic Grenade, and this might just be... Oh, Redskin. Feeling the motion, feeling the game. First minute. Now, it took a lot longer from the other offense to get it done. They did get stalled up here in this section. Did take them about another 45 seconds, so we'll see if the offense can go ahead and get a plus 45 here as they are continuing to push 5, and that is going to be a split slightly better for them as they end up taking it a little bit faster. And if we look at the time on the clock, guys, they have gone down about 10 seconds left, so it is about 7:10 left on the map, and that is a horrible position for the defense right now. They need to find a moment to draw a line and say, okay, it's time for us to milk the clock.
Yeah, they're all in flanking positions on the offense right now. They don't care what the defense is right now. They're basically waiting. ASOX saw them. He's probably making the call right now. Hey, they're running up. I'm going to flank them. I'm going to flank them. Just buy us some time. And man, that nano boost, it should be enough. But Super Fuck, can he get any damage? Kills Ben Best, and that should... ASOX takes down Matt Watch. That's both tanks down, and I don't know if they can now duel. ASOX take out Disco Bodo. And man, that Deadeye swine it up, shuts down ASOX, and is able to stall out temporarily the push. But man, the defense is just able to rush in so much quicker. Great hook on Ozanazes. Yeah,
that's that spawn advantage there. Really close spawns. But yeah, I have to agree with you that I mean, he ended up getting pushed into it, ASOX, but still, he landed one shot, almost took him out immediately with the great flashbang, taking out Super Plow. But now the offense in a decent position because of those spawns. Can the defense continue their rampage? But a great whole hog going to go ahead and zone a lot here. But Disco Bodo went ahead and channeled the Dragon Blade. No, that's not even a Dragon Blade. That's just great dashing. That's just great slashing. That's just great melees. That's just great Genji play. Best way to put it, 59%. He didn't even get that much charge. He only got 20-30% from those kills. So he really was doing the janitorial work for his team. But, in FPSs, being a janitor is a pretty glamorous job.
Yeah, you do all the cleanup, man. You get all the credit, but right now on the offense, they have 2 ultimates right now. The defense has 0 ultimates. They need to kill them before Matt Joie gets his Graviton Surge and is able to change the fight and buy some more time. If they can engage within the next second or 2, they might be able to capitalize on it.
Charge gonna go forward. Death Blossom gonna get ripped out. Super Plow is gonna take out Matt Waj, and it looks like Disco goes down as well to Heiko, and Asox pushing forward with Ben as best down. Heiko as well to chime in again, but this is definitely a bad situation. We talked about it a little bit, or at least I posed the question a little bit earlier. If you kill the DPS and the tanks first, is it better than killing the supports first? I will say one thing: if you do that first, the supports have no means to be taking a fight afterwards. They had to back off Dorneko and Noki, but they didn't get any charge either out of their ultimates, so no defensive ultimates anywhere near available for the defense.
And this is Disco Bodo is about to get baited hardcore. If Disco Bodo charges in and basically Super Flock only cares about Earth-Shattering them, this could be a huge fight. But instead he burns it down. But yeah, man, gets some people, but I don't know if that's enough. They have to take down Ben Best right now in order to that counter Earth-Shatter. Man, just reverted the fight back to normal. Honestly, he should have held it. He should have waited for the engage.
I think he was on a little bit of the same logic as you. He was looking. I saw the Genji go in maybe to dash to Blade and then dash again, but he goes ahead and says, fine, that's the situation. That's worth it right there. And I think I'm going to go ahead and do it. Now, it doesn't end up working because of that counter or shatter, like you said, and I think that's the big part. And, of course, Ozna. Now with the Death Blossom, I mean, we've talked about it enough in this cast. He can make a huge difference, but Winston, good job checking his corners. Graviton Surge is going to go out and it's going to catch the offense. Hardest going to, though, take out Ozna, as we found out with his dead body. Now can Hardest continue to get the kills as he does have the dead eye? Nope, no, never mind. Now we're on Hardest, as it looks like Heiko ended up going down to Matt Waj. This offense is so close to getting around the corner and bullying back the defense and getting the momentum they need to, and there we go. Reinhardt gets in front. Asox gets a pick. Hardest continues pushing forward into Nerko with down. Hardest with the quick flick on a bin best. This is the beginning of the end unless the defense makes a change, unless the defense does something. 3 minutes to work with, and the offense doesn't even need to win here, Scribe. They just need to get the payload in a good position to set up the next fight.
Yeah, but I think they have enough. Disco Brodo is going hardcore. Hardest is just trying right now to just, hey, get some zoning down, just kill one person. Because all they need is a one-person advantage to really win this fight. And they keep a game pushed back. Hardest, how is he still alive right now? Hardest takes on Disco Bodo right now. Matt Watch is on the wrong side of all this. He's saying, oh man, I thought we could take this fight, and that's just not true. That Graviton Surge is not enough, and they're able to
Ozna calls GG.
Payload onto the point, the final
Redskin.
point.
Redskin, they won the first one, lost the second one, and won the last one, and they will go ahead and take it on that score alone. But I mean, to kind of give a recap there, Scribe, for those that might have just tuned in, of course, those watching from the VODs or whatever it may be, but that game was Nambani was just sloppy as all hell, for no better way to put it. Lijiang Tower was incredibly exciting, and then that last map, I really felt like we saw a different side of Redskin. Really great coordination in the parts where they worked together. Almost flawless in some respects.
Hardest just did so well right there, doing so much in there. But honestly, it's kind of a shame to really say this, but man, Ben Brett, holy cow, this guy was just caught out so many random times. Ben Best was just, oh man. He was just caught out so many like random instances and just wasn't able to capitalize on it. And I mean, like I know I'm stressing that maybe that's not the right person to blame or the right person to really criticize about. But man, that almost felt like he got caught out in like the wrong places and just gave up a lot of random gaps in the entire thing. But man, that Hardest, holy crap, that guy. 2v1 to Genji Zarya at the last fight to confirm the win. I think honestly that's gonna be the key to victory right now. They need to make sure he goes off and carries on this momentum to the next map, because if they can do that, oh man, that'd be so good, and that'd be easily a huge advantage for them, that they can have their DPS when start winning 1v1s.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and just piggyback off the back of it. I think that sums it up well. Hardest, can you keep your hands warm? Go buy yourself some, go get some hand warmers, go get some gloves, go into some practice range, and keep that flick on point, because you are going to need to be taking on Team Project, a team that's not unfamiliar with finals and the Go4 series, and a team that's not unfamiliar with deep runs. We'll be watching them take on Redskin in the finals, guys. That'll be coming up next for you, as the upcoming match is going to be the finals. If you guys are just tuning in, we really appreciate your viewership. go ahead, and if you guys don't mind, get on social media, let people know about this match, let people know about this event, as it is a smaller event, but these are two teams playing for €150, best of 5 in the ESL Go4 EU Overwatch Cup number 13, and again, €150, winner takes all, plus points into the monthly cup, which it is coming close to the end of August, and there's $900 or €900 on the prize for the monthly, €600 for the first place team. So winning a Go4 Cup and then going into the monthly finals is super big for an upcoming team. So definitely get out there, let people know about it. We appreciate your guys' viewership, and we want to let you know that we will be right back here, guys, to bring you the finals between, like I said, Team Project and Redskin coming up for you guys in just a moment. Subscribe, and RaptorZ, we'll be right back.